What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Finally got the whole crew back together. Logan's finally returned.
The
the prodigal
triumphant
son.
return.
The prodigal son. But yeah, I'm sure my computer will geek out even more with more than one other person on. So that's gonna be fun. But anyways, great win last night. Talk about the Thursday night game, get you caught up on everything going on, and then get you to the games this weekend. So yeah, Steelers 2016 win over the Titans last night. I made a comment today to someone. We were talking about the game. I was like, Kenny Clutch. That's what I'm gonna start calling Kenny Pickett because never makes it look good, but he gets the dub in the end.
Did he get the job done, or was it that defense again?
He gave him the lead, didn't he? The defense just shut it down at the end. But yeah, I mean, I think you saw improvement on the offense, and I think people don't understand still that it's year two. Like year two's not the year that is the make or break. It's year three for quarterbacks that you have to see the vast improvement. So I think they're getting it going finally. The first drive was fantastic. They got the running game. They had 166 rushing yards in this game, which was really encouraging to see. And it was the first game Matt Canada called on the sideline versus being up in the booth for his whole career. And I think it made a difference. Got to talk to all the players instead of just the quarterback. And they got the win eventually.
It definitely looked better than it has, so that's definitely a positive for Canada. Um, I was still, and the stat line doesn't really, show it, but I was still actually pretty impressed with what Will Levis did in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was under fire the entire time. That Titans line was banged up beyond belief. It was like every other play, like there was somebody down. I think they ended up like on their third string right tackle,
Mm-hmm.
which is who has to take on TJ Watt. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of impressive. Yeah, but yeah, Steelers improved to 5-3. They're marching.
Trying to keep pace with the Ravens. One game back now. We'll see how the Ravens do on Sunday. But yeah, Will Levis did look pretty good. I thought 22 of 39, 56.4%, 262, one pick at the end to seal the game for Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, 19 of 30, 63.3%, 161 touchdown. Like I said, the running game was going all night for Pittsburgh. Jalen Warren, 11 carries, 88 yards, 8 yards per carry there, 3 catches for 25 yards, leading the game in rushing. King Henry and Najee both scoring touchdowns. Najee had one of his best games of the season, and I traded him away 15 minutes before kickoff.
Tragedy.
It's fine. I needed a tight end, so I got Dalton Kincaid for Najee Harris. It's pretty good trade, I thought. So
I'll take that. Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, excellent, 7 catches, 90 yards, touchdown on 9 targets. I need George Pickens to get more involved in fantasy, though, unless I can trade him away somehow. But his values drop in the last 2 weeks. So, D Hop had a double-digit targets, only caught 4 for 60 though on 11 targets, thankfully, because I was playing against him in a couple leagues, which was nice. defensively, this is the Alex Highsmith coming out party. I mean, just a monster all night. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 5 QB hits. The get off and the spin move. Alex Highsmith's spin move is like up the top of the league. I mean, it's like Freeney-esque, really.
Yeah, he's really developed into like a not just an above average pass rusher, but like a good to great. Like he's a perfect complement to TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm. Takes full advantage of the 101s he gets on the backside. The Steelers covered -3.5 by the hook, under 36.5 also by the hook. Tough night for bettors on either side. All right, USFL news. The Stallions, back-to-back USFL champs, getting even better. They signed New Orleans Breakers corner Neville Clark. I believe he was an all-USFL player last year. Just, like I said, fantastic addition to an already good team. Great team. College-wise, just one thing. Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt, it was put out there that he is heavily considering a transfer to a Power 5 school next year instead of entering the draft. Would make him maybe if not the, maybe just one of the top quarterbacks in the country in 2024 if he did stay and transferred to somewhere like USC. That would shoot his stock way up, I think, and he would be preseason first rounder easily.
Yeah. And I don't even think he has to shoot that high. I mean, look at what a change of scenery has done for guys like Cameron Ward, guys like DJU.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely something to that because I think as it stands right now, a lot of people see him as like a 3rd to 5th round developmental prospect. If he wants to bet on himself, I think the best chance he has to rise that is to make that move. I think he's proven definitely enough at Tulane. And he definitely showed his loyalty for coming back this year. He could have transferred this past year if he wanted to. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the reasoning behind that is because of how QB heavy this draft is. So going out in 2025 instead, right now, anyways, not as much competition at the QB position in the 2025 draft. Obviously, lot to go still. Not even close to declaration day for the draft. So, NFL news. We got some firings. They came at 1 a.m. Eastern on Halloween, or I guess technically November 1st. I was at the bar and my friend showed me, and I was like, that's hilarious. But yeah, the Raiders, they fired head coach Josh McDaniels, GM Dave Ziegler, and offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi. So replacing them, the tweet that I saw didn't say interim offensive coordinator, so I'm not sure if they actually made the move already. But quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree is the new OC. That's what it said in the tweet, just new OC. It didn't say interim, so I'm assuming it's interim, but who knows? Interim GM is Champ Kelly, and the interim head coach is former NFL linebacker Antonio Pierce. So yeah, I mean, Mark Davis wanted to make a move, and they have been almost as bad as Cleveland. in terms of number of head coaches since I don't even know. We'll just I guess last 10 years or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand the hiring at all when it was made. Um, and he didn't really do a whole lot to. The only way you can make that hire in my eyes is if you're conditioning on like, hey, like this is somebody who knows how to win, and as long as he does that pretty quickly, he get to stick around. Year and
Mm-hmm.
a half, they've done quite the opposite of that, and there aren't any signs pointing upward. Um, so yeah, I think it's funny though that a lot of the beat reporters the day after were saying that the entire the entire locker room chemistry changed like overnight, and like all the guys are like happy and stuff, and um, so yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were better off last year with Derek Carr at the helm, anyways. Even though I know Raiders fans were getting stale of Derek Carr, but like historically, Derek Carr's a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Not winning wise, but numbers wise, yes. And I regard Derek. I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy G won a lot of games in San Francisco because of Kyle Shanahan's system,
yeah,
um, and the running game that they had. But yeah, I mean, Dave Ziegler did absolutely nothing to improve this roster other than getting Devontae Adams. But even then, losing Derek Carr, they weren't a wide receiver away from being even close to contention. Their offensive line picks have not worked out. They have not consistently drafted anyone on defense of note because Max Crosby wasn't drafted by Dave Ziegler. Max Crosby was drafted before that. So, yeah, I mean, I understand why he got canned. I understand why McDaniels, they were a pair. So, the exodus of expatriates is complete now, I guess.
and I think one of the things that's scary from a team building perspective is like this past off season, it felt like they were making moves based on, okay, to make this work, we need to get like McDaniels guys in here, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
get rid of Carr, sign Jimmy G. Um, that's a franchise altering type of decision, and now you're only 7 weeks, 8 weeks into the season, and that plan is completely gone. GM, head coach fired, Jimmy G's getting benched. Um,
Yeah.
it doesn't get much worse from a team building perspective than that.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I didn't mention, but you already said it. Yeah, they also benched Jimmy Garoppolo for rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. It's a lot of money to sit on the bench. 11.25 million due next year, I believe, and he's also due 11.25 million in signing bonus on the 5th day of the league year next year. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting situation for whoever the new GM is with figuring out that situation. But yeah, I think Antonio Pierce is a good guy to lead them forward. And it's weird though, because like the Raiders always get good with these interim head coaches, and then they don't hire the interims. It's like Rich Bisaccia excellent run when he was the interim after Gruden got fired. Not hired. I don't remember who else. Dennis Allen only had like one game, I think, in Oakland as the interim. So he wasn't I don't remember that too much, but yeah. I expect Antonio Pierce to have success. I think um, he's a Raider through and through, like he put out in his statement. Like he's from Compton, and so like he grew up with Raiders, being Raiders fans, and everyone wearing the Raiders hats in Compton and whatnot. So even though they're in Vegas, you still have that Oakland connection there. So, anyways, other quarterback news: the Falcons, they are starting quarterback Taylor Heineke this week. Arthur Smith saying that's this week, not an indication of the starter the rest of the season, but Heineke is starting this week at least. I know Jimmy's very sad. He loves his Desmond Ritter.
Love him, especially against my Vikings. I mean, Vikings have seen Taylor Heineke. They played him last year in Washington, and they did beat him. The thing is, with the Viking situation, it really doesn't matter who's starting at QB for Atlanta. It's all about what Vikings can produce on offense. Like, it could be Heineke, it could be Ritter. I really don't think it would mess with the outcome much. Like, the Vikings' success completely hinges on if they can create an offensive game plan that works around Hall's strengths and can like get him up to speed and get some good drives. I mean, Heineke or Ritter, I don't think it even matters because again, Atlanta's offense, other than Bijan Robinson, who they refuse to utilize, is just not very good. And they just lost their best wide receiver for this game. So they don't really have weapons on offense. It really, in this game, it really will just depend on can the Vikings defense just do its job, and can the Vikings offense just put up enough points? I expect this game to be very low scoring and kind of gross.
Yeah, I mean, you did see an increase in production for the offense in Tennessee last week when Heineke came in at halftime. So maybe that's an indication. But yeah, like you said, limited pieces this week on offense. And also, Cam Akers, just run the ball with Cam Akers. I mean, we'll talk more about it at the game, but like, no Grady Jarrett for Atlanta anymore this year. So there's an opening inside.
Yeah. I think we need to give more touches to Akers. I'm not happy with Madison, but we'll get to that later.
Logan, the Packers,
your boys,
GM Brian Gutekunst, he expressed that he's unsure whether Mr. Jordan Love is the future, the long-term future or not for Green Bay. Your response to Mr. Gutekunst?
My response is, he's right, but I feel like anything you're going to say as a Packers GM is going to be put under the microscope. So I mean, I don't know. It's not a great look, I feel like. Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that there does have to be an awareness that like the legacy's kind of tied to how Jordan Love is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had to know when he made that pick, and they kind of emphasized the succession plan for building behind Rodgers, trying to replicate that system. That his legacy was kind of going to be tied to that. So yeah, I mean, my take on the whole thing is that there's 10 games left. Right now, nobody's sure. He hasn't done enough to lock up that job for sure. That's all we know right now. And there's 10 games to figure it out.
Well, they're in position right now. number 6 overall in draft standings right now. So that gets you maybe Drake May.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Probably would have to trade up.
Yeah.
Probably with the Bears.
Which I don't see them doing. Now, what I have seen is, and what I don't agree with in Packers fandom right now is that there are some people out there that are no QB in the draft. We need all these other positions, and I just laugh because they sound exactly like Bears fans that we've been making fun of for the past 2 years. Who've been like, Fields isn't the problem. We have no line. There are so many problems with the Packers offense right now that everyone shares equal blame. That blame right now does involve Love, who has been struggling. Now, like I said, there's 10 games. He has plenty of time to turn it around, lock up that job. But as we're sitting right now, if you got the chance to take either May or Williams, you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If the draft were tomorrow morning, that's just how it is. So
I'm going to tell you what I just told Jimmy, except a different player. Give 33 the ball. 33 the ball every time, and it should work a lot better on offense.
Yeah. Supposedly he's been dealing with, a hammy issue. These soft tissue injuries, I don't know what it is, but
he
they
said he's
keep
ready to let him loose. He said he's ready to let him loose this week, though.
Right. So, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. That's for sure, because I'm sick and tired of seeing all these post-game press conferences where he's just like, yeah, I didn't know that he didn't have that much usage. It's like, well, it's kind of your job to know. But we'll see. We're on to LA.
And the thing is, with the Packers, as very inconsistent as Jordan Love has been, I think a lot of Packers fans just going, "Oh, it's just QB," is just very incorrect. Their offensive weapons are very underwhelming. Their offensive line has faced a lot of injuries. I don't think you need to jump the gun at drafting QB because, what if you get a top 10 pick and you have an opportunity to get one of the better defensemen or better offensive linemen, or drop in the mid-teens and get, or mid or late teens if you have a good run, and then maybe get, I don't know, Igbuka from Ohio State or a pretty decent weapon. I think the Packers' issues are being dropped on Jordan Love a lot more than they should be. I blame a lot more on Matt LaFleur than I do on Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love genuinely is a very good athlete. I think he's a very good quarterback in some ways, but it's kind of like what I said about Justin Fields. Everyone knows Justin Fields' weaknesses. The problem is the Bears not only fail to hide them, they emphasize them. And I think Matt LaFleur really wanted Jordan Love to play like Aaron Rodgers. And it's really not working. Like Aaron Rodgers bombs the ball, works in pace, stays in the pocket, and he's like, "Oh, I could do that with Jordan Love." And Jordan Love's natural strengths are not Aaron Rodgers. So I think that really is just. I would rather get rid of if I was a Packer fan. I'd rather get rid of LaFleur before getting rid of Love. I think LaFleur is just starting to get flustered out there, and his weaknesses are showing.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's basically two flip sides. It's, and people are taking a hardline stance on either one, whether it's, this is on Love, this is on LaFleur, this is on the weapons. And my answer to that is yes. It's you get to 2-5 because all of these things are happening and they just aren't in sync at all as a football team. There'll be a play where Love puts, just throws a seed, puts it right on the guy, couldn't hand it off to him any better, and it hits his hands and he drops it. There'll be another play where the guy will be running wide open and Love just kind of airmails it. So hopefully just over time, there's a super young team. As long as you see development towards the end of the season, got 10 games, I feel good about what you've been able to accomplish from this season if you can salvage just the progress from it. But yeah, I mean, right now it remains to be seen. So
All I got to do is go 7-2 to hit my 9-8 projection. There you go.
start the run now.
IR wise, the tumultuous run for Bills' former first round corner Kaiir Elam continues. He was placed on IR this week by Buffalo. I didn't really catch the injury, just saw he was on the list. Giants kicker change. They have placed kicker Graham Gano on IR. He's having knee surgery. He is out for the year. Returning from IR, the Jets, they opened the practice window for offensive tackle Dwayne Brown. So that would be big get back for them on offense. Losing a guy last night, Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb out for the season, significant knee injury. I hate when they say, "Oh, we're not going to show it because it's too gruesome." Like, I need to see it. I want to see what actually happened. Like, you can't tell live what happens if they don't show you a replay. So I had to find it online and see what actually happened. So, yeah, feel bad for Cole Holcomb. Was having a really good season, and it's going to be a struggle in the middle of the defense now for Pittsburgh. As you saw, it was a struggle the second half of the game with communication, not having Minkah Fitzpatrick and then losing Cole Holcomb as well. That's our top two communicators for the Steelers defense. So I assume Elandon Roberts will take the hold at linebacker until Minkah can get back. Ins and outs. The Dolphins safety Javon Holland, he is out of concussion protocol, will play. Massive return for that Dolphins defense against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I assume that Javon Holland will be on Kelce many times in that game. For the Giants, couple injury updates. Quarterback Daniel Jones, dealing with his neck injury, is expected to play, make his return this week. Offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, dealing with a hamstring, is questionable. And tight end Darren Waller also dealing with hamstring. And quarterback Tyrod Taylor with his rib injuries. They are both out. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he is sick, so he is out. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson with his rotator cuff injury, AC joint, whatever it is, shoulder. He's going to start this week. So Deshaun Watson returning for Cleveland. We'll see if he can make it through a game or not, because he couldn't last time he came back. You mentioned it, Jimmy. Falcons wide receiver Drake London with a groin injury. He is out. Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel with a toe injury is out. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford with his UCL injury in his thumb. He is questionable, going to take it up right to game time. Bears quarterback Justin Fields with his thumb injury is doubtful. Might be able to return next week. I'm not sure if I want that or not. I'm on the fence on whether I want him to return next week when I go to Chicago for the Panthers game. I don't know. Packers linebacker Quay Walker dealing with a groin injury. He is questionable. Cardinals running back Imari DiMercado is out. Quarterback Kyler Murray and wide receiver Michael Wilson dealing with a shoulder injury. They are both questionable. And for the Texans, running back Dameon Pierce with an ankle injury, wide receiver Robert Woods with a foot injury are both out. Making me start Devin Singletary in fantasy this week. It's fantastic times. One extension. I guess we can give him a cha-ching, right? This is the biggest contract he's gotten in his career. So the Bears, they signed defensive tackle Andrew Billings to a 2-year, $8.5 million extension, $6 million guaranteed. Yeah, why not?
I mean, he's solid. I mean, he's 28 years old. I think this from what I saw, was his first multi-year contract.
Yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, I mean, he's played well. He's fit into this defense, and it's not like you're paying a guy on the wrong end of 30. Got him probably what will be his physical peak at a very team-friendly deal.
Other free agent signings here. The Bills, they signed defensive tackle Linval Joseph, 1 year, $3.72 million deal. Raiders signing linebacker Jalen Smith. First move under interim GM Champ Kelly, I believe. Giants, they signed kicker Randy Bullock to the practice squad and Cade York off of the Titans practice squad. So get the two former Titans in camp for New York there. The Panthers, they claimed corner David Long Jr. off waivers from the Raiders. So he gets back to DC. Ejiro Evero, and the DB's coach there in Carolina was also his DB's coach when him and Evero were with the Rams. And then Giants, in addition to the guys they signed, they also worked out kickers Robbie Gould, Mason Crosby, and Matthew Wright. The Cross just can't get a job. He wasn't able to get one in LA either. College pick standings, Logan just crushing us last week. Yeah, I was not very good. You went 2-0 in your lone wolves. You got Louisville right over Duke and Arizona right over Oregon State. I went 0-2 in mine.
Ooh.
Oklahoma lost to Kansas. Texas State lost to Troy. And Jimmy, you were in the middle. You went 1-1.
Woo!
Got Tennessee right over Kentucky and lost UNLV over against Fresno State.
Darn.
So this week is very interesting because I'm in the middle with y'all went crazy. I just stayed right down the line until the end because I have one lone wolf this week.
Listen, I got some catching up to do.
Logan has 5, and you have 4, Jimmy.
Woo!
Yeah, this is either going to be the separator week or I just blew the lead 28-3 Falcons style. I had some.
But yeah, so I am still 5 games back, and Jimmy is 9 games back right now.
Single digits.
This is the first one. So Boston College at Syracuse tonight. Logan lone wolfing the BC Eagles here. It made more sense when I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I should go with Logan. But I was like, nah, I'm sticking with Syracuse, sticking with the dome. I always say about the dome there in Syracuse, going with Garrett Schrader and the orange in this game.
Yeah, I just went off of pure vibes. And I felt like from some of the games that I've seen from Boston College, like I feel like they're kind of a stingy team, they can kind of get up on you if you're not on your best. So I think they have what it takes to go on the road and get a dub.
Yeah, I mean, if this one was in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, I would pick the Eagles, but and Thomas Castellanos has had a great season for them as well, almost beating Florida State and whatnot. But again, going with the home team on a Friday night just seems right. We got the vibes, right, Jimmy?
Oh. I pick all my lone wolves based on vibes. Like, this team is like 15-point underdogs, but they got the vibe. Yeah.
50.5 here in this one. I'm liking the under. 7:30 at ESPN2 tonight. No lone wolves on this one. Saturday, number 1 Ohio State at Rutgers. Buckeyes getting 18.5. Give me Rutgers 18.5 though, plus 18.5. The
Same.
Scarlet Knights. The Scarlet Knights. Greg Schiano. It's in Jersey. You know, they're gonna give the Buckeyes something to play for here. Now that the target is squarely on Ohio State's back. I mean, you want to be number 1 in the CFP.
Don't look at me. I didn't ask for this.
You got a 2-loss Rutgers team here. This is the best Rutgers has been in since Greg Schiano Part 1. So like, yeah. Rutgers is gonna do what they do. They play defense and they run the ball. We'll see what happens.
This was almost my 6th lone wolf. And then I remembered that Wisconsin had already beaten Rutgers this year. I was like, what? Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I hope it does. Total is 42.5. I am rolling with the under. 12 p.m. on CBS. Big 12 action. Number 23, Kansas State at number 7, Texas. Heck yeah, hook them.
Look them.
Horns getting 4 at home here. I think Quinn Ewers is still out. That's why it's only 4. Plus, Kansas State's a newly minted ranked team in the CFP now. It's fine. Kansas State is the defending Big 12 champions. I don't really care. Texas at home. They're going to win and cover.
Who's Texas's QB? Their backup.
Malik Murphy.
Arch Manning. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, oh, do we get to see Arch?
No, the redshirt freshman. He played last week. Malik Murphy. They just got to lean on Jonathan Brooks, sophomore running back there. Excellent player. Total is 49.5. Under. Sure, why not? 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. Texas A&M at number 10, Ole Miss. I forgot to put the spread on there. It's 3 for the Rebs. And I understand. I wouldn't be surprised Jimbo goes in there and beats them. I feel like for some reason, I don't have any stats to back this up, but it feels like Jimbo gets the best of Lane Kiffin more often than not. I don't know if that's true or not, but just what I got a feeling. So I think A&M will make it a game, but
I feel like Ole Miss isn't as good as this record is. Like I didn't pick for them 8-1 or 7-1, potentially going up 8-1 here. But you can't make me bet on Jimbo Fisher. I just can't do it. So, prove me wrong, Jimbo, but
that's fine. I want them to be 8-1. I want them to be 8-1 because they get to come to Athens next weekend. So if Georgia can get the 9-0, Ole Miss comes in at 8-1. Game day will come to Athens probably, and it'll be a great time for Lane Kiffin. 53.5 here. I like the over. 12 p.m. ESPN. What a lack of luster this game has become now. Number 15 Notre Dame at Clemson. I can't believe Notre Dame's only a 3-point favorite. I guess because they kind of been up and down the last 4 weeks-ish, and I guess going to Clemson. But it's a day game at Clemson. It's not like it's nighttime in Death Valley. So I have no confidence in Cade Klubnik, no confidence in Dabo Swinney. So, yeah.
Yeah. And even if it was a nighttime in Death Valley, they're 4-4. Like, there's really nothing to play for. I know this is like a semi rivalry kind of because of the CFP face-offs they did and that one championship game. But yeah, I don't think Clemson's going to get up for this one. I think Notre Dame takes it.
Total is 44.5. I like the under. 12 p.m. ABC. UConn. I knew I should have picked them. At number 17, Tennessee.
Minus 36.
Jim Mora Jr.'s bringing them into Knoxville. Yeah, I mean, I've been totally disappointed by this UConn team this year. I had high hopes after a 7-6 season last year, getting to a bowl game, but they just have not been anywhere close to what they were last year. It started with them losing their quarterback. I think like week 3 or week 4 when they lost John Fagnano. That was really like the backbreaker for this UConn team. They needed him, and the backup quarterbacks have not gotten it done. Losses in the transfer portal as well hurt them. So it's a tough season for Jim Mora, but go get your money and get out of Knoxville. But yeah, this is bullshit. This should not be allowed as a game this late in the season. Like, come on, bro. No one. Why do you 36-point favorite in week 10? Like, why? That's stupid.
Doesn't Georgia typically beat up on somebody too at the end of the season? I know Bama does.
They play Georgia Tech at the end of the season, but they're a Power 5 school.
Barely.
Hey, Georgia Tech's looking good this year. They're around 500, I think, or better. 55.5. I like the over. Tennessee scores 56. 12 p.m. SEC Network. Arizona State at number 18, Utah. The Utes getting 10.5. Obviously, we know no Cam Rising for the rest of the year, so Bryson Barnes getting the job. Arizona State's been tough. They lost that Washington game in Seattle a couple weeks ago by a touchdown. They had the game in their hands. Should have won that one, but Kenny Dillingham working through some struggles in year 1, I believe it is, of his Sun Devil tenure there. But yeah, Kyle Whittingham, this Utah defense will shut Arizona State down. 40.5 for this game. I like the under. 2 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Army at number 25, Air Force. I still think this is just the biggest flop of the CFP. Air Force should not be 25. They should be way higher. They should be in the teens in the CFP rankings. They're so much better than number 25. It's really disrespectful. Anyways, now that I got that rant out of the way, the Falcons, very good. They're about to go into this game, win the Commanders Cup because they already beat Navy, about to beat Army, win the Commanders Cup, make the Army-Navy game obsolete in terms of the Cup standings anyways. But yeah, it's a big game for that reason, but I think Air Force goes in. Maybe Army covers. I don't think so, though. Emmanuel Michel, Johnny Lee Eldridge on offense, Zach Larrier at quarterback, Trey Taylor on defense, the great safety that they have. Love it. 31.5. How we feel about that spread?
It'll be 37-3, and we're gonna like it.
All right, over 2:30 CBS Sportsnet. Number 12,
Logan.
Missouri. At number 2, Georgia. Go Dogs.
Let's get nuts.
Very much considering picking Georgia just to piss off Rusty.
15.5 for the Dogs at home. They're on a 25-game winning streak. 24 straight regular or 24 at home, I believe. 23 straight SEC games win streak. Something like that. I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't care. Georgia's playing well. You don't come into Athens and beat us. That's what I got.
Logan, any comments on the vibes?
The vibes were on the one hand, this morning I was bored and I wanted to pick a spicy take for this slate of games. 2, I'll be glued to watching this game for as long as it's competitive, and I always pull for the underdog when I don't really have any other reason to watch the game. So I didn't want to pick Georgia, but then be rooting for Missouri. But I do also think, in a semi-actual football analysis way, I think the win streak is going to come to an end at some point during this season. Whether that's in the CFP or at least one loss before it. I don't know. But I think Missouri could be, a scary team that could do it. I think they played them pretty tough last year.
That was in Columbia. This is in Athens.
I'm just saying. The Tigers might have your number, and I think this could be a Luther Burden haunts the dreams of Georgia fans for the next calendar year.
That's if Brady Cook can get him the ball. That is.
Don't worry about him.
as Georgia sacked Graham Mertz 4 times last week, which was their highest output of the season. So, yeah. Also, I think this is going to be a fantastic game because all week Kirby Smart's been telling the boys, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to be number 1. Obviously, you're not good enough to be number 1. You're not number 1. You're number 2. You're not the number 1. You're not the best team in the country. You're the number 2 team in the country.
They're a big old number 2.
So I want to see Kirby Smart's team go out and show everybody that they deserve respect as the 2-time defending national champs and beat the absolute shit out of Missouri. Because I think if they start scoring for Georgia, I don't think he's going to stop them. Total is 55.5, and for that reason, I like the over. 3:30 SEC on CBS. Number 4, Florida State at Pitt. Seminoles getting 21.5 on the road here. It's not a trap game, as much as Lewis Riddick's going to be on the call for this one, and he's gonna call all his Pitt, Homer stuff because he's a Pitt alum. Whatever. Usually, when you do go into Pitt, Pat Narduzzi, it does feel a little trappy, and Louisville found that out. But FSU is not Louisville. Like Jordan Travis. I don't know why everyone's putting Jaden Daniels as the Heisman right now. I would put Jordan Travis in the hat for my vote probably at this point. I just feel like they get under the radar. They get thrown under the radar though because they play in the ACC, and the way this offense is cooking right now, it's tough to beat.
Yeah.
50.5 for the total. I like the over. Florida State by themselves. 3:30 ESPN. We have Bedlam. Number 9, Oklahoma at number 22, Oklahoma State. I was surprised. Why'd you have to do that, Logan? Why couldn't you just let me have my fun?
Your lone wolf.
Yeah. And now Jimmy gets a
Only
lone
I
wolf.
can have
Yeah.
5 lone wolves, Rusty. Only me can have that many.
Rusty, if you're a success at Lone Wolves, we're doing you a favor.
Oof.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one at the bottom of the standings, sir.
You're the one that went 0-2 on Lone Wolves, buddy. I'm going to come back here.
You want to know what the lone wolves are for college football this year? I am 6-10. You are 9-16, sir.
Woo! Go big or go home, baby.
He's got you in the win column.
We don't got to say what Logan's is because he's above 500. Also,
What is it? Am I really?
7-5.
No kidding.
But yeah, so this one was close. I definitely think at the very worst, Oklahoma State covers that spread. Oklahoma State is really surprised. At the beginning of the year, they were just like, what is going on? They have like 3 different quarterbacks, Gundy's starting, and they finally settled on Alan Bowman. Alan Bowman has played very well, and they have this guy named Ollie Gordon at running back, who is just a monster. He's top 3 in rushing yards in the country, and he might even lead the country. I don't know exactly, but that is why I'm picking Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma's defense is going to be able to stop Gordon in the run game. And as much as Dylan Gabriel can play through the air, he had some shaky moments in that loss at Kansas last week. And being a rivalry game on the road in Stillwater, I think I'm going with the home team.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a little bit of a hangover from losing to Kansas last week, getting your college football playoff hopes somewhat dashed. I mean, if they win out, they still have a decent shot at it, but it's definitely kind of, a little bit of a mark on the resume, especially with how many good teams there are this year. And then you factor in that it's a rivalry game away, at Oklahoma State, I think could be a pretty big factor. So, yeah.
Total is 61.5. I am leaning on the over. 3:30 ABC. I also don't like that it's during the day. This game should always be at night. Bedlam deserves a night game. Number 11, Penn State at Maryland. Nittany Lions getting 8 on the road. So it's going to be tough again. This will be Drew Aller's 3rd road game this year. Hasn't really looked great in either of the previous 2. But, I think they can get it done. Maryland just kills itself every second half, as we saw in the Ohio State game. And as much as I love Talia Tagovailoa and Mike Loxley and my guy Dave Muai, not going to happen this week.
I almost picked Maryland for this game, but I knew Rusty would be mad at me if I picked against Georgia and Penn State. So I was like, I'll give them one. That's my hard-hitting analysis for this game.
49.5 for this game. I like the under. 3:30 on Fox. Virginia Tech at number 13, Louisville. Yeah, I mean, Louisville's getting back on the horse. A couple weeks removed now from the pit loss. And great win last week, 23-0 over Duke. So, yeah, they win this one. Virginia Tech's been surprisingly decent this year. But away from Blacksburg, I just do not trust them. 48.5 for this game. I'm leaning on the over, actually. 3:30 ACC Network. Number 24, Tulane and Michael Pratt, as we talked about, 17-point favorites at East Carolina. Yeah, the Pirates are struggling this year. But it is weird. I don't know what it is about ECU. And when you go into ECU, it's weird because there's just like a lot of purple. And even though I love purple, my high school was purple, but there's not a lot of purple teams in college. So it's a little weird when you go in there. But I think Tulane will be okay. And Willie Fritz and co. will get the 8-1.
Elite color matchup.
Yeah, ESPN just changed Tulane's logo to add the blue to the wave. So
nice.
Can they really be called the green wave now? The green wave? Or is it, is it green and blue wave? Just saying.
I mean, I'm a big powder blue guy. You can put that shit on everything and I'll like it. So
don't tell
maybe they'll well, they're away, so I don't think they'll wear their powder blues for this one though. 40 I like how I put 45.4 on the total on the script. 45.5 for this game. I like the under. 3:30 ESPNU. James Madison at Georgia State. I'm going to go on another rant about the CFP because this is also just it's not right, bro. Like James Madison is a top 25 team. They're undefeated. I don't care what league they play in. Like if you're undefeated, you're undefeated. Like you should be in the top 25. So yeah, they deserve to be in the top 25. I don't care if they're not eligible for the conference championship game or for a bowl. I'm hoping that there aren't enough bowl teams so that they can get in. Even though that I heard that New Mexico State would get in before them. I don't know why, but anyways, yeah. So it's stupid. They should be top 25 team. This is going to be a really good game, though. It's a tough one on the road at Georgia State. They got to face my guy, Marcus Carroll. And Georgia State just lost last week. But, yeah, I think James Madison will go in and continue to win. And if they go, like, come on. Like, if they go 12-0, like, that and they're not, they can't play in the freaking Sun Belt Championship game nor go to a bowl. Like, that would just be the stupidest thing NCAA has ever accomplished. So I hope they do. Hope they do go 12-0. 53.5. I like the over. 3:30 ESPN2. Georgia Southern at Texas State. Logan's on his horse again. Jimmy went with his Texas State Bobcats this week.
Can't go against them 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, but there's no any rhyme or reason behind this one. I have zero knowledge of either of these two teams. I just know that I like Georgia Southern's aesthetic, even though it's kind of plain. I like the vibe. Plus, 6-2. They got the small favorite, but that's why I'm riding.
Well, this is a long way to go from Statesboro, Georgia to I'm assuming Texas State has two campuses, and I don't know which one is the main one. So I don't know which city to say. It's either San Marcos or Round Rock, Texas. I think it's Round Rock though. Not really exactly sure. Never been to either. But anyways, yeah. Gasso just beat Georgia State last week. That was a big matchup, big game in the Sun Belt West. Texas State losing to Troy. Massive loss in the Sun Belt West race. Do think they're going to win this one, though. At home, TJ Finley and that Texas State offense under GJ Kinney, they get it back and rolling in this game and try to catch Troy again, even though the games are dwindling down here. How about 68.5? What do you like, Jimmy?
Over.
Take the points.
That USC Cal game, not even going to compare.
5 p.m. ESPN Plus.
All right, boys, I got to hop off. Appreciate it,
man.
fellas. Have a good weekend.
You too. Speaking of Cal, at number 6, Oregon. Ducks getting 24.5 at home in Eugene. Think they'll have no problem. Bo Nix and co looked excellent last week against Utah. So, yeah. Good Ducks. Gotta get the in there. 59.5 here. I like the under. 5:30 Pac-12 Network. Louisiana Tech at Liberty. Again, I think Liberty should have been ranked in the AP poll. I don't know if they got ranked this week or not. I didn't look at the AP, but again, they're an even bigger, they're an even greater instance of why they should be ranked. They play in Conference USA, Why not? They should be top 25. 16.5 for the Flames at home. I think they'll get it done, cover that. La Tech is struggling this year, and Bulldogs will not be going bowling. 58.5 here. I like the under. 6 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. Number 21, Kansas at Iowa State. I can tell you I have absolutely no inclination of why Iowa State is favored in this game.
I don't know.
It has been a whirlwind and a absolute miracle that the Cyclones are 5-3 somehow with all the crap that's going on there. Matt Campbell's done a good job, though. I like Lance Leopold better, though, and Jason Bean in that Kansas offense. Maybe Vegas is betting on what Logan said earlier about Oklahoma. The big win last week against Oklahoma. Maybe there's a hangover. They got to go on the road now. I don't know. I still think Kansas is the better team overall, especially on defense. Where they have Kenny Logan Jr. and a bunch of other great players. 53.5 here. I'm liking the under. 7 p.m. ESPN. Night game for Iowa State. Maybe that's why. BYU at West Virginia. And I can tell you, this originally was a Lone Wolf Logan, but I flipped.
You left the dude.
That I did, despite our pre-show discussion.
Despite, dude, I thought after that conversation, I was like, this man is Cougar Central right now. But no, I'm hurt.
But yeah, the reasoning was, for one, is that something had to have happened. The line when I first wrote this game down was 10. It jumped 3.5 points. It's now 13. But still, there has to be something there that happened with BYU, because there's no way a line jumps that much in just a couple days. So that's why I went with West Virginia. I also think night game in Morgantown, that's a tough atmosphere to play in, especially if West Virginia is decent like they are this year. And also BYU just got killed by Texas last week. So
they're going to recover. Don't you worry.
Sure. 48.5 here. I'm liking the over for some reason. 7 p.m. on Fox. Purdue at number 3, Michigan. The Cheaters getting 32.5 here. I had to. Yeah, I mean, Purdue is trash. So why not? 52.5. I like the over. 7:30 on NBC. This is just the dumbest game. Like, why is this a game in prime time, for one, let alone on NBC? Like, this is stupid. Number 5, Washington at number 20, USC. Yeah. We went for it, man. I have no clue. I don't think this game is. I don't know if it's going to be close or not. Because how I'm seeing it is that Michael Penix and the Washington offense is going to score a lot of points. USC and Caleb Williams is not going to score as many points. And that's how the game's going to go. So, yeah, I think Washington covers. I think they beat USC. I'm going to go. You want bold? I think Washington beats USC by 2 touchdowns.
Whoa. Ready for some Super Bowl? 3 touchdowns.
There you go.
49-21.
What?
That's new. I thought Logan came back and just.
Oh, we have all kinds. I have all kinds of sounds on here. We can. I just haven't used a lot of them yet because I've been waiting on special.
You had your chance and you used it.
Yeah. How about 76.5? Where are we going?
To the moon.
That's what I was gonna say. I was hoping you were getting that too. We had the telepathy. 7:30 on ABC.
Well, okay, come on. My revenge tour is not over.
Number 14 LSU at number 8 Alabama. This was hard. This is hard to pick. It was close. I think early in the week I was leaning LSU, but then I was like, nah. It's in Tuscaloosa for one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bama defense is going to stand up, and they're going to humble Jaden Daniels. And once again, I don't believe he should be the number one for the Heisman right now. I don't see it. So I think Bama's going to win close, but win nonetheless. Maybe we'll get something like I just saw a tweet that said about the game of the century a couple years ago, or not a couple years ago. It was 2011, I believe, was the year. Bama LSU 9-6, Alabama. I like that. I'm in for that. 61.5. Let's go with the under. 7:45 on CBS. It's a new one. Didn't we have like a 7:37 game earlier this year?
Some.
Miami, the Canes. NC State.
Don't doubt the Hurricane.
Well, you're not lone wolfing it, really, when you think about it. The Rock is always with you on his Canes.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
I don't. I really don't. No, this was another one where I originally picked Miami. But then I was like, I believe no Tyler Van Dyke once again, probably. And I just think NC State, again, it's the atmosphere for me, I think, in a lot of these ones. Night game at NC State in Raleigh. And I'm still banking on that NC State defense. Peyton Wilson, the linebacker there, is fantastic. And I think they're going to shut down the Canes in this game. And then MJ Morris is going to do just enough on offense to get it done for the Pack. 44.5. I like the under. 8 p.m. ACC Network. Number 16, Oregon State at Colorado. The Beavs getting 13.5 on the road. Josh Pate had Colorado as his upset of the week to watch. I can't see it. I just think the Oregon State defense is too good, and the Colorado defense is not good at all. Colorado's defense might be worse than USC's. That's saying something. But yeah, I just think that Oregon State, the Beaver defense, is gonna get it done and get to. I think they hit Shedeur, because Shedeur, I believe, is the most hit quarterback in the country. So yeah, I think the Beavers will hit him a lot and disrupt the passing game there. And I forgot to mention, I did have a third college football playoff rankings rant that I forgot about. Let's back up here to this bullshit. There is absolutely no reason why USC should be ranked. Yeah, absolutely not. Their 2 losses have been horrible.
And honestly, they should have lost that game to Cal.
Right. So, yeah. They should not be ranked, let alone 20. They're not even at the bottom. They're 5 spots in. That makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, James Madison should definitely be ranked. Air Force should be above USC, I think. So, there you go. There's my third rant of the night. For this game, 62.5. I like the under. Just because of the Oregon State defense. 10 p.m. on ESPN. Mountain West action, Boise State at Fresno State. Bulldogs getting 2.5 here in the Valley. Yeah. I think Mikey Keene, that Bulldog offense, is going to do well. I think it's going to be maybe a lower scoring game. Taylor and Green on the other side for the Broncos, but this is not your dad's Boise State, and Fresno State, I think, is probably going to win the Mountain West. Actually, well, I mean, I'm picking Air Force, but Fresno State might still win the conference anyways. But 54.5 here. Again, I don't know why I think an under is in on this one. 10 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. Last FBS game, number 19, UCLA at Arizona.
I'm kind of surprised I lone wolf this one.
Again, I flipped.
Mm.
I was in on UCLA until I realized how many times I have talked about Arizona on this show. And I absolutely love Noah Fafita having a great season at quarterback for Jed Fish. And Chip Kelly on the road. Dante Moore, true freshman on the road. Even though he's not the starter anymore, Ethan Garbers is. And this should be a defensive battle, but I just think the Wildcats eke it out on Pac-12 after dark. $50.5 here. Give me the under. Arizona wins 17-13. 10:30 FS1. FCS game of the week, number 7, Sacramento State. I do have a lone wolf.
Comes in at the very end.
It is the Sacramento State Hornets on the road. Number 7, Sacramento State at number 4, Montana. The number 4 spot in FCS play has not been very fruitful the last couple of weeks, except for Furman, who beat Western Carolina. But South Dakota got absolutely rocked last week against South Dakota State. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. I don't really have a lot to back this up, but I think Sacramento State, even though they're not as good as they were last year, do think they can get it done on the road. This is Big Sky matchup here. So I don't know. I just think Sacramento State wins somehow. Close. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus.
Woo!
NFL pick standings. Jimmy, you and I went off on Logan last week, and we got some games on him. So yeah, you and I literally had the same thing. We both got our only lone wolves of the week. I got the Saints over the Colts. You got the Seahawks over the Browns. I'm sure Caroline loved you for that one.
I had to be honest, man. I didn't have the Browns winning.
And Logan was a fantastic 1-3 on his lone wolves last week.
Ooh.
He won his first one. He won the Jags over the Colts, or Jags over the Steelers, and then he lost the next 3. Rams against the Cowboys was a good one. Packers against the Vikings, and then the 49ers versus the Bengals, all losses. I'm sitting the lone wolf brigade out this week, though. You and Logan once again in NFL went a little weird, went a little crazy, but Frankfurt, Deutschland.
We all went Dolphins.
The motherland, right?
Nah, it's the fatherland.
Oh.
Russia's the motherland. Germany is the fatherland.
I mean, I'm German, so it's
Same.
There you go. Dolphins at the Chiefs. Yeah, we're all rolling against the Super Bowl champions. Weird stuff is going to happen in Germany. I already feel it. Tyreek's going to throw a touchdown, I think. And I just don't think the Chiefs are like in a weird rut right now. And I don't think they're going to be able to cover the Dolphins receivers. And also, the Chiefs receivers, I don't think are going to be able to create separation at all against Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if Xavier Howard's back for this game or not. If he is, I mean, that would even solidify my pick for Miami. And like I said, Javon Holland is back for the Dolphins, so that's going to help a lot, like I said earlier, against Travis Kelce. I don't think Taylor Swift's going to this one.
Well, Chiefs lost.
Yeah, so Travis Kelce's going to average like 46 yards per game or whatever. 50.5 on this one. I like the under, just like barely. 9:30 a.m. NFL Network. 1 o'clock game, Seahawks at the Ravens. This is the first couple here. We're all in stride. I was close to picking Seattle, but I just on the road at Baltimore. It's a long way to go, and I as much as I hate to say it, I think the Ravens are the better team, and this is a division leader matchup. Seahawks leading the West by a half a game over the Niners. And the Ravens, if they win this, would keep their 1.5 game lead over Pittsburgh and possibly Baltimore and Cincinnati if they both win as well. 44.5 here. I like the under. Cards at the Browns.
See, Carolina, I can pick the Browns sometimes.
I believe it is the rookie, Clayton Tune, will be starting, even though Kyler is questionable. I know they said that Kyler could still play possibly, which would be just a weird scenario. They're like, oh, we're down in the second half. Kyler, you're in.
Good luck.
Would be very odd. Especially against one of the best defenses in the league and Myles Garrett coming around.
The best thing you could do for Kyler is not play him.
Yeah.
Just let him play some Call of Duty.
Kyler goes into the blue medical tent. That's actually what he's doing.
He's playing the new Fortnite update. He's like, I got to play the original map.
He got his Xbox set up in there. But no, yeah. The Cleveland will be interesting as well offensively. Like I said, whether Deshaun can make it a whole game or not. That's the big thing. And really, how does he look? Like, does he have his velocity back? Can he throw without having pain in his shoulder? Like that'll be one to watch early in this game to see how Deshaun actually looks. 37.5 here. I like the under. And it's the score I have in my head is really bad. I feel bad for Cardinals fans if I say it, but it's under at 34 points. Browns win 31-3.
Honestly, it'd probably be something like 21-6. My
feel
guess,
so
21-6. Final score. Book it.
Bucks at the Texans. This is one I was close. I was thinking about Houston, but I just thought that with the loss last week to Carolina, and the Bucks lost last week as well, but the Bucks played pretty decent in Buffalo, so I think the Bucks. I'm going to go with the defense against CJ Stroud. Hopefully the Bucks defense lets up a lot of rushing yards. I said I have Devin Singletary. I need Singletary to play well.
Dude, me too. I need him to do something.
So yeah, I like the Bucks defense, and I think Baker can eke one out here in Houston. 39.5. I'm going under in that one as well. Bears at the Saints. Yeah. I mean, it's at the Superdome. I don't think I really am not giving the Bears any shot at this game.
Yeah.
To be honest. The Saints defense, just like Cleveland's, the Saints are a top 10 defense at the very worst. So I like that, and I like Derek Carr against this Chicago secondary. 41.5 here. Under. Vikings.
Yeah.
At the Falcons. Good Lord. It's not going to happen, Jay. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Jaron Hall's not that guy.
He's that guy. Fucking we Hall. He's that guy.
So the Falcons are, it's now 3.5. 3.5 point favorites at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Yeah, I think the Falcons have the quarterback advantage, even without Drake London. I mean, the Vikings don't have Justin Jefferson, and just throw it to 87. If you're going to throw the ball, Jaron Hall, just throw it to 87 every time. That's all you got to do. And give Cam Akers the ball,
which we can do.
Because I think I'm starting Cam Akers over Devin Singletary. Actually, I think that's the move I made.
I think that's a smart move,
but I don't remember though. I'd have to check. I think it might be Singletary. Actually, I don't know. Just because he's guaranteed touches, Akers, we still don't know because they've been being stupid and splitting the works. 37.5 here. So let's get the 9-6 game I mentioned earlier. I like it.
Yeah.
Rams at the Packers, and Logan is being a homer as well.
I can respect it.
Makes a lot of sense. And you and I will be in a horrible position if Matthew Stafford cannot play in this game.
Yeah, my pick was completely based on the idea that Matthew Stafford was playing.
Because
when I heard no structural damage and that Matthew Stafford wanted to play, I was like, okay, he's probably gonna play. But like,
just get a little cortisone in there, be good. But if not, I believe it will be Brett Rippon because they were not able to lure John Wolford to LA. The Bucs decided to sign him to the active roster in order to keep him on Tampa and not allow him to go anywhere. So yeah, they did not get a quarterback last week like they thought they were going to. It would be Brett Rippon, I believe, if Stafford cannot go. Great times.
He's gonna rip it.
He did win a game a couple years ago.
He could do it again.
Against the Jets on Thursday Night Football. And I love that my screen just went completely blank. That was cool.
Oh, no.
I don't know what happened. And I'm a ghost now, as you can see.
Ooh.
But anyways, total in that one is 38.5. I feel like I'm going to pick every single under this week.
It doesn't feel like an offense-heavy week.
Until later.
Yeah. I think 1 o'clock slate, you're just going to get a lot of slogfest, especially this one.
Commanders at the Patriots. Patriots are 3-point favorites at home. and I'm sticking to my mantra that I created. When did I create this? Let's see. Oh, I created this about a month ago, week 5. After week 5, I created this mantra to never pick the Patriots again this season, and I've held strong to that. And I'm continuing to do that this week because the Patriots suck, and Mac Jones is not that guy, and on and on and on. I feel like the Patriots are just favorites because they're at home, and Washington traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
And genuinely, I think it's just it. I can't think of any other reason.
But see, I don't really even care though because the rest of the Washington defense is still solid. Even though I don't know if Cody Barton's on IR at linebacker, but they still have decent secondary. Like, who's going to catch the ball for New England? I have no clue because Devontae
Smith-Schuster.
Parker's dealing with an injury. I believe he's still in concussion protocol. I don't remember though. Yeah, Juju's literally the only guy they have. Kendrick Bourne's out for the season with a torn ACL.
I wonder if I should start Juju.
So it's literally Juju, and then they're going to play like 13 personnel and run Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, and whoever the heck the third tight end is out there. So, yeah, I believe that Sam Howell, despite 3-5, Sam Howell has played pretty decent this year, and he's the better quarterback of the two. New England is not the New England defenses of old. So, yeah, I'm going with Washington. Even though they're going to miss Curtis Samuel, expect Terry McLaurin to have a massive day, I think. I was pissed. I couldn't get Logan Thomas on waivers in one of my leagues, the one free league I'm in. I needed a tight end with Kittle and Laporta both on buys, and I was like, bro, I couldn't even get freaking Logan Thomas, so starting Kate Otten instead. That's okay.
It's all right.
But yeah, I think Commanders total is 40.5 under. Colts at the Panthers. Yeah. I originally had Indianapolis.
But
then I was like, nah. Like Logan said, the vibes. The vibes are in Carolina right now. They're at home. Bryce Young has gotten a win now. So yeah, I think Bryce Young's gonna pick apart this Colts secondary and get the win number 2. That's it. That's all I got.
I can't go with it.
Why?
Just the vibes, man. The Colts vibes are immaculate. I don't know. Even with the win, the Panthers didn't really impress me. I think the Colts on both sides of the ball are just a better team than the Texans. And again, I don't see anything from the Panthers last week that tells me they're going to get back-to-back wins.
I don't know how you can say that the Colts are better than Texans. Texans have a half game better record than them.
I don't care. I think the Colts are better.
This one's at 405, by the way. 43.5 for the total. Give me some points. I like the over. Cowboys at the Eagles.
I had a feeling Logan would lone wolf this.
Well, you know.
Someone has to.
He just likes cowgirls that much. I mean,
he's a cheerleader guy. I get it. I respect it.
But yeah, this is in Philly.
Yeah, if this was in Dallas, I might consider it. But Eagles don't have any significant injuries. They're playing at home. coming off a tough division win. I just don't see how the Cowboys have just enough against the Eagles. It just feels like the Eagles and Cowboys are kind of the same team. The Eagles are just a better version of them.
Well, it's really annoying this week. It's been really annoying this week because everyone's like, oh, talking about Jalen Hurts' knee. I'm like, dude, his knee is fine. He doesn't run it as much right now because of the knee, but he's still effective.
Yeah, and it's like
sneak, and he can still run around in the pocket.
And the thing is, too, it's like when you have a running quarterback, it can be an issue when they're injured and are limited. But the thing is, the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines, have an insane amount of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a situation like Lamar Jackson is in Baltimore, where his mobility really creates that offense because he does not have good things around him. With Jalen Hurts, it's like, yeah, a pocket passer on the Eagles offense is going to be amazing. Like, there's no real concern here.
Well, and also with this, it's the volatility of the Cowboys. Like,
yeah,
have you heard about their point differential in their wins and their point differential in their losses?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Vikings last year. The Vikings would win barely, but then like get absolutely cooked in their losses.
Oh no, it's different than that.
Oh, it is?
Yes. The Cowboys, when they win by about 22 points.
Oh.
When they lose by about 22 points. So
the exact
obviously,
same.
you know, they have 5 wins, 2 losses, but still, there's no middle ground with this team. They either win big or lose big. So I don't think that's going to be. I think this will be probably the first one that's in the middle, because it is a division rivalry game and whatnot. But I just obviously I'm not going to pick against the Eagles. I'm not going to pick.
You can't. I mean, we're all homers here. We respect it.
But yeah, and I also don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to cover. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I don't. Without Trayvon Diggs, I don't think they're going to be able to cover. Because we're going to double team Micah Parsons every play. And yeah. This is the start of the 425 slate. 46.5 here is the total. I like the over. Eagles win 31-17. Giants at the Raiders.
Wow.
This is really like.
Do you guys? I'm gonna guess you guys picked the Raiders because you're gonna expect that like that post John Gruden kind of run, where they.
No. It's just historically, you know, the first game after a head coach firing, I believe the team wins because they get a jolt. It's like when a quarterback comes in, you know, off the bench sometimes. But I also think the Giants are literally one of the worst teams in the NFL. I don't care if Daniel Jones is back. Like, it's not going to matter. Both these teams suck. So I think Devontae Adams is going to have a massive day, though, because he can just bully Aiden O'Connell into giving him the ball. So that's what he did against the Chargers when Aiden O'Connell started earlier this year. Devontae had like 1 reception through the first 3 quarters, and then he yelled at Aiden, and Aiden's like, okay, I'll give you the ball. And then he threw it to him like 7 or 8 times in the 4th quarter. So, yeah. This is Devontae Adams versus the Giants, and I think Devontae Adams wins. Plus, it's a massive hole. The Giants D-line with Leonard Williams shipped off to Seattle. I think Josh Jacobs should have a little bit more room to run, even though they do still have Dexter Lawrence. I think it's going to be a little bit easier without Leonard Williams in the middle there.
I don't know. I like the Giants vibe.
I was going to say, why are the Giants winning?
I don't know. I have the opposite feeling, especially with the Raiders. I think this is one of those coach firings where everyone's just kind of depleted. Everyone's just kind of ready for the season to be over.
Logan said they were all happy.
There's a difference. Okay, but there's a difference between like, oh, we're happy a coach is fired, and like, ooh, we're still a good team. Like, you can still be happy and depleted. It's like finishing a final in law school. Like, you're happy to be done, but you're completely depleted. Like, you're exhausted. You don't want to do anything.
Antonio Pierce is from Compton, though.
He did say he was going to touch them boys. So I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about. Plus, this is an Antonio Pierce revenge game. Ooh. He was a Giant. Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with the Giants. I believe both. I believe he won both of those Super Bowls. I think he was on both those teams.
How was that Antonio Pierce?
37.5 here. I like the under. Somewhere around the game last week. 13-10.
Oh, he was only a one-time Super Bowl champ. He didn't make it to the second.
Oh, okay. I knew he won at least one of them. I thought he might have been on both those, but okay. Sunday Night Football, Bills at the Bengals. Otherwise known as the DeMar Hamlin game. When he doesn't play in it. Because he's been inactive most of the year.
For his safety.
There's absolutely 0% chance he should win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, the problem is, though, I don't know.
5 snaps. He's played like 5 special team snaps this year.
But the problem is like, it's kind of the conversation I had with you when picking it. It's like, he simply has to exist on an NFL roster to get it.
But the thing is, he can win a different award. He can win like a community whatever.
Do you think he'll be like Walter Payton nominee?
Yeah. See, he can win the Walter Payton Award. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of like that.
That's fine.
My question, of course, is just like, okay, if he doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, who does?
Comeback Player of the Year. I'd have to think on that. Tua. Why not Tua? Why can't Tua win it?
I mean,
he had his concussion issues last year.
He did. But the thing is, when I think of comeback player, I either think of like 2 things. A, absurd injury, which Tua's injuries were awful. But like Hamlin died. It's hard to compare those. And then when I think comeback player, I think absurd increase in production. And Tua is playing a lot better than he did last year, but he was still productive last year. I don't know. I think it's too obvious with Hamlin. I think it's just too obvious with Hamlin, and I think that's why he's going to get picked. I think there would almost be an uproar if they just didn't pick him. I feel like people would just be like, wow, the guy that died.
Another person that could win Comeback Player of the Year. It's a little bit DeAndre Swift.
Come on, man.
I'll pick another homer pick. You want TJ Watt? He can win Defensive Player of the Year and come back.
Oh, dude, come on. TJ Watt still had a good year last year.
Is Deshaun eligible? He went through a lot last year. Okay.
Yeah, he had a different kind of comeback. Thank you, Chris Pratt.
Or how about Russell Wilson?
No.
He's having a good statistical year.
Yeah, but it's just not good enough. When it comes to comeback player, it's hard to be like, oh, you're a comeback player because you were just horrendous. Just awful. And now we're going to reward you for being just okay. For me, Russell Wilson, if he wanted to win Comeback Player of the Year, would have to be playing MVP, leading division, Broncos legitimately look like a good playoff contender. Like that to me would have to put them in it.
Yeah. About Zach Wilson.
Same thing as Russell Wilson. Like Zach would have to like be playing like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why we're having this conversation. It's Hamlin. I picked the Bills. I know the Bengals have been playing well, but I think the Bills take this one.
I don't. Not the way that I saw the Bills play against the Bucks on Thursday night last week.
I think getting Rasul Douglas is going to play a big factor also with the Bills.
Really?
I think their defense.
Russell Douglas is good enough to cover Jamar Chase. You sure about that?
He's better than what they had.
Well, yeah, Kyer Elam is a former first-round pick that hasn't been able to be a starter unless injuries occurred.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'll say with the Bills, they didn't address the linebacker position at the trade deadline. So I think that's still a weak spot since Matt Milano went down. So yeah, I don't think they have enough on defense to cover. First off, Jamar Chase, and then also Joe Mixon has awoken the last couple of weeks. So yeah, 49.5 here. That's a lot. 7 touchdowns. I don't think so. Not on primetime game. Under.
Yeah, I think under. I think both these teams are just gonna play kind of ugly.
8:20 NBC. Monday Night Football Chargers. What do you know?
Wow,
one more game. One more. Chargers at the Jets. Was this a vibe pick, you think?
I think he loves his mother lovers, and he saw Zach Wilson. He's like, you know what? He won last week. They're winners. Why not?
Yeah, I think the Chargers are about to go on a run.
Yeah, I have a good feeling Chargers are going to make a push to the wild card.
Austin Eckler is back to 100%. Even though, the rushing numbers were crap last week, but that's because the Bears are actually decent at stopping the run. But the receiving numbers were crazy. And they have some excellent matchups coming down the stretch here in the second half of the season. The Jets, it's going to be tough, obviously. The Jets have a top 10 defense. But they have a great matchup against the Lions next week. The Packers is a good matchup for them. Ravens is a tough one, but that's in LA. Patriots, Broncos, Raiders. I even think the Bills are a good matchup for them. That's on a Saturday. And then, they got the Broncos, Chiefs is the rest of the schedule. So I think they got some good matchups. I'm excited about my fantasy team with Eckler, Herbert, and Palmer. So let's get it. 40.5 here. Under. 8:15 ABC ESPN. Best bets of the week? Yeah. I see. 0-3.
We are just falling apart.
Or no, never mind. I forgot to update that. Never mind. I am 2-1. I went 2-1 last week. My bad.
Wow. All right, we're making progress.
Oh yeah. See, I updated it on the spreadsheet, the total record. So 10-14. 2-1 last week. It is literally crazy though. I still cannot win a best bet on the left side of the sheet. So the first one there, the left farthest pick, I have not won that bet the entire season. I've won 4 in the middle, and I've only lost 2 on the right side. So the right side's fantastic. The left side, I don't understand why I can't win. It's probably because I pick stuff like this, where I'm picking the Ravens to win, but I need the Seahawks to cover. I just think 6 is a lot for a team as good as the Seahawks. Even though Baltimore's rolling right now, I just think it's going to be a closer game. And to have a touchdown with a 5-2 team, I don't think I think that's too many points for the Seahawks not to cover that. And of course, I have to update that because I get 3.5 now instead of 4. So always taking the best line as the founder, So yeah, I like the Falcons to cover 3.5. Not trusting the rookie, Taylor Heineke, Bijan Robinson, get it done. And
I wouldn't trust Arthur Smith's game planning.
And then originally, I did not have the Bengals in the third spot. I had Washington +3 originally. And then I was like, nah. Especially because the Bengals one moved from 3 to 2. I like 2 a lot better than -3. So I felt pretty decent about 2. I had them winning anyways. So I think if they win, they'll win by 3. And that's my rationale for that one. Lock standings. We all got it last week. You went with my Eagles. They got the job done against Washington. And Logan and I were on the Lions. They beat up on the Raiders. So, yeah, you and Logan still at the top. Back to 500. I'm sitting at 3-5. 1 game back. So here we go this week, all different. Logan rolling with the Browns.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we all picked them. So he's doing the little cop-out thing that he likes to do, though. They're playing the worst team in the league.
Well, you got to pick the one you played the worst team in the league.
I hope the Cardinals win now. Just so Logan gets screwed on his lock.
Hope for Caroline's sake they don't.
I'm going to homer. I'm on the Eagles. This is probably one of the spicier locks of the season, but I don't care. It's Dallas week, and yeah, that's all you need to know. You're going with the Chargers, the last game of the week over the Jets.
Yeah.
Beat Logan's lone wolf. We can help ourselves. We can both be his 2 lone wolves.
Come on. Why can't we be friends?
Dog standings, yeah, bro. It has not been good.
Dogs are disappointed.
You and Logan have lost 3 straight weeks. I gave myself the benefit of the doubt last week.
Oh, of course you would.
Because I had written down 3.5, but the spread closed at 4. So
cheater, pumpkin.
I'm gonna give myself a tie there.
You know, I'm gonna bring this to the committee. I don't think they're gonna like this one.
Okay,
Logan, get back on.
I gave you the benefit of the doubt earlier this year.
Nah, that was different.
Houston in week 5, you gotta win on the spread because I gave you +2.5 instead of +2.
Nah,
you gotta win. I didn't even get a win. I got a tie.
Sounds like
Logan got 1 too earlier this year in week 2. So we've each gotten 1, but I didn't even get a whole one. I only got a half of one because I got a tie, not a win. Anyways, though, last week, Logan had Rams +6 at the Cowboys.
Oh man,
you had the Steelers +2.5 against the Jags.
Ugh.
And I had Browns +4 at the Seahawks, which they should have freaking won.
Womp womp.
What does Caroline have to say about that? They should have won last week.
She's in stunned silence. She can't bear to talk about her Browns.
Luckily, they tied the spread. They pushed the spread, so I got a half. I got a tie on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am now a half a game back of y'all. we better pick it up though, because
we got to figure it out.
We're in danger of going sub 500.
Dude, we are losing people money. I can hear the angry mob outside my door.
So this week, here we go. Logan is rolling with me on the Panthers, plus 2.5 against the Colts. Your lone wolf there in Indianapolis. That one was a little too bold for my likes. So I'm going with the Dolphins in Frankfurt, plus 1.5 against the Chiefs. We are all on the Dolphins, so that makes me feel better about that one. And you are against my best bet. You are going Vikings. I will give you the benefit of the doubt, sir. I'll give you 4, plus 4 at the Falcons, but I'm taking minus 3.5. So
all right.
So plus 4 at the
You're
Falcons.
so gracious.
I'm giving you half a point. You know.
All right.
So yeah, you're going Vikings plus 4 at the Falcons. Lone wolf. So you got 2 lone wolves at stake in the dog standings this week. And that is the show for today, right around 2 hours. We'll be back next week talking NFL Week 10, college football Week 11. Getting down to it in college football. And on Tuesday, because this week in NFL Week 9, once this is over, is the official halfway point. So on Tuesday, or do we want to do it next Friday? You want to do it next Friday instead?
Why not?
We're going to recap our Super Bowl picks and awards picks. And we're going to see how they're looking.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Next Friday?
Next Friday. I think we'll have more tonight.
Cool. So next Friday, we'll be talking about see how our Super Bowl and awards picks are doing. And we'll be back on Tuesday, of course, to recap all this weekend's games. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcasts on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, X, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc., and TikTok at Football Addicts Anon. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all back on Tuesday.
Woo.